The Lord gives us the opportunity to serve Him at every single time, at every single place, and every single year, at every single moment of our very existence. We are the Lord's. But sometimes it's so easy to forget that. Why? Because we get so distracted with the world, with its circumstances, with the current times, with our problems, with our challenges. But I'm here to say that we are beyond our challenges. I'm not sure if you may have someone in your family, someone that you may know of, could be a spouse, a grandparent, maybe even a child, or even a church lady who may be so quick to correct and point out the flaws and maybe the insecurities or the wrongdoings in others, but maybe have a hard time receiving it. Do you guys know of those kind of fellas or those kind of individuals? They're almost impossible to deal with. It's as if they're perfect and they're untouchable. But this is where accountability becomes so important. Why? Because in the gift of accountability, we recognize that we're not perfect, and there are things that we can do better. There are ways in which we can grow. There are ways in which the Lord is calling us to do better, because advancing is part of the human fabric. As we come to know this same living God that exists forever, we can't know Him perfectly and completely, and definitely not now, meaning that there is room to grow. And if there's room to grow, there is room to be better. We do not do that without accountability. Accountability doesn't mean at all that we are bad people. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are good people. Accountability just means that there's room to grow, there's room to improve, and this is the task of discipleship. We hear clearly in the first reading how David had the opportunity to strike Saul down immediately. And he would have been, in a way, at least humanly speaking, or societally speaking, justified. Why? Saul was after David before he became king. Saul grew jealous of David. Saul, although he was the chosen one of God and set as king over his people, that wasn't good enough for Saul because he was jealous of David's attention, the attention that he got, of the prowess, or the songs that they were singing to David. Therefore, David had to flee and run away and try to keep himself alive as Saul pursued him. And in this scene, in the first reading, David had the opportunity to strike Saul down. Sometimes you and I will call that a preemptive strike, to make sure that the aggressor does not hurt us. That's not necessarily a bad thing. However, when we look closely at the scripture, do not touch my anointed. If God Himself has chosen this individual, He has chosen us as well. Sometimes we may not see that. And when we don't see that, it's so easy to live life in defense instead of in freedom. David saved Saul's life because of the freedom and the security that he had in the Lord. Maybe we can invite that same security and freedom into our lives. Why? Because it enables us to be better, whole, giving, complete people. What is this blueprint in life that the Lord is calling us to embrace, called discipleship in accountability? Well, we hear it clearly in the gospel, according to Luke. And this is the scene after the Beatitudes that we heard, similar to last week's reading. It is a continuation of how to live life well, meaning giving to those that we know and like. That's easy, right? Even the pagans and the sinners do the same. But what makes us unique? What makes us followers of Jesus Christ? What makes us as light and joys and pillars of goodness to the whole wide world? It means probably doing something that is unimaginable, that's unbelievable, that's maybe a place where total freedom lies, meaning we do the things that maybe aren't common. We hug those or love those who are maybe hard to love. We attend to those who may not be able to give things back in return. Why? Because none of those things matter, especially as we're serving the living God. There is no recompense on earth that is good enough other than to serve the Lord and receive the joy that comes from Him. If the Lord is the only recompense, that means that whatever exists in society as far as norms, as far as adaptations, as far as rewards in this world or treasures, just know that it is null and void because those things are not necessarily for us. And here are 3 societal traps that are maybe unhealthy habits that we might find ourselves looking for. Firstly, turning labels into identity. For instance, this is a hot topic, maybe. Let's see how many emails I might get tomorrow morning. For instance, someone with a learning disability or learning challenge, let's say ADHD, sometimes we put on that label so as to say that this person is that and that's it. But you and I know that that is absolutely incorrect. A person may have it as a learning challenge, but it does not define them. They are already defined at the very moment of their conception as God's children, period. Another societal tendency is to maybe conceptualize every single trauma in this life or every single experience as a trauma, or every single person that we know that may be difficult as a narcissist. Why? Just because there are things in this world that might get on our skin or under our skin, that doesn't mean that they are automatically the enemy. Maybe it's an opportunity to rise to the challenge with the gifts and the talents that the Lord himself has given us so that we may continue to shine forth as a bright pillar in the night, so that we too may grow and see the gifts that the Lord has given us, and those other individuals or situations may benefit from the Lord's action within us. Maybe a third societal habit that we often get ourselves caught up into is the obsession of feeling seen. Feeling seen, being appreciated, those aren't bad things actually. Those things come from the Lord. However, sometimes we fall into the trap of wanting to be seen and loved and appreciated by the world around us, when being seen and appreciated and loved by the world around us is far beneath our worth. Because our worth, once again, is child of God. There is no one who will love you and see you and appreciate every single thing that you do other than the Lord. Therefore, friends, why settle? Today and always, friends, we look towards the rewards of heaven because as Christ's own disciples, there is no reward on earth that is good enough for us. For Christ's disciples, the only thing that is good enough, the only reward, the only recompense is the joy of being in heaven, where you and I may continue to sing the praises of the Lord. Today, friends, we don't settle. Today, we remain accountable to our own very selves and actions, knowing that the Lord is calling us to be better. And as he calls us to be better, maybe we may leave a mark in this world, leaving it a better place than when we met it.